Okay, welcome everyone. I have been so busy prepping for this reading. I have pulled back the veil, invited all the angels, guides, guardians, and ancestors in because, there's things to be done at this time. And what have I brought? So far, I have got some red rose tea, and I've pulled it out of the bag because Mom used to read that way. And these are offerings for the ancestors. I've got some coffee, and I can perk later some of that and enjoy that with them. I have some treats over here, raisins, nuts, and Smarties, along with my charms I've been charging in the calendula flower. And I have yet to put a little bit of whiskey in a glass for the fourth place for offering over here. But just to make it a little bit more fun, this is the charm bowl, yes, but the ball, that's what I'm trying to say, the charm ball that I dropped my charms on for the reading. And what I've done is brew some eyebright tea. And I thought, if you want to see more clearly, I do use this on my eyes, and I have drank this to strengthen my vision. So I thought, let's try it on the crystal ball. So I have strained the herbs from this, and I'll let you see what I put in my mixture. And I only used a teaspoon. So I'm now going to put this back in the cradle, bring the camera over, and we're going to actually wash the crystal ball and ready it for seeing. All right, I hope this gives you a pretty good vision of it. So I've lined the bowl with a little bit of a black doily, so there's no chipping. And I've been using this for years, and I've never cleansed it. So I added some cold water to this because I didn't want to crack the crystal ball. I'm putting enough in there that I can play with the water and clear the bowl. I guess I should be pouring in a clockwise motion. Got a little bit too much in there, so hang tight. Okay, so the idea is I'm going to take my gloves off for this because I want to get into the water, and I actually want to bathe and, ask that this eyebright bring clarity to the ball, allow the charms to speak more clearly than they've ever done before, and let me see the answers that I need to see and understand those answers clearly. Beautiful. So now I'm just going to dry this off because it is all about intention. And my intention was to definitely cleanse this ball for today. And what better way than to use some herbs from the kitchen, shine it up. And it's had years of use. It's probably been, 5, 8 years I've been using this ball. I buff it and dust it, but why not cleanse it? And especially with some herbs to make it all happen, make it all so. And I do like the idea of this in there, so there's no banging of the crystal ball against the dish. So let's pause, take it over, and get it in its holder. Okay, so if you've never watched my station before, this is my charm board. These inserts come in and out. They're plastic. And I drew this on to represent the family tree and tapping into the ancestors. And these were just little ideas that I put in like almost bubbles, like in the cartoons years ago, to give me some information when the charm falls on it. And so I'm now going to just pour some libation into the cup for the ancestors. And this is a little bit of whiskey. And as Selena says, I'm not condoning drinking at all. This is just as a gift for the ancestors. And some of them did enjoy scotch and whiskey in my family. So that is going here. Now, Might be a little bit full. So I'm going to pause again. I'm overzealous in what I'm gifting today and take a little bit out of there. Put it back in the jar. Okay, so that has been done. My candle has been lit over here. A nice white one. And I did pull some cards from my handmade deck. So I'm going to try to get the camera correct and be back with you in a second. Okay, now these are cards that I drew last night from my handmade deck. Regular playing cards from a thrift store and a book with images that appealed to me. So I shuffled the cards with the intention of asking, and did so, that, what would my ancestors like to tell me before I begin to do my reading down below with the charm board. So I pulled, after I shuffled, I cut it actually into 3. And I pulled the top card off of each of the 3 piles for there, and the bottom card for here. Now, it seems to be telling me, with this 2 of Swords over here, and just the image of it alone, that there is a little bit of confusion, being in the dark a bit, but with the moon there will be some illumination. And the 2 of Swords is usually making a decision. And below that sits the Queen of Wands. And I got the feeling that that might have been my mother, that she was not on board with my decision on uprooting and moving to Nova Scotia. Before she died, we had those conversations. And the next one is quite interesting. I think this one here, the 9 of Wands, represents my husband and myself, and needing the support of each other because of that move, because of that uprooting and the turmoil that we went through, and that we stood by each other with the 9 of Wands and helped each other through the situation. And with this one, the 10 of Swords, even though it is the 10 of Swords, and yes, there were burdens with the move, visually to me, it appears very much like a wedding dress, that this couple, they were committed to each other, and we were. We were committed to the move, and we did everything we possibly could, even though it was a burden and it was heartbreaking at times. So over here, the last 2 cards to be pulled, the Jack of Wands, or clubs, that tells me that there is happiness yet to be had, and the message is clear that it will be coming through. You just got to let things play out, pun, with the piano there. And the Queen of Swords here is, looking at the truth of a situation. But I did have a friend read for me, and she said there are definitely 2 ladies around you right now. And I wondered if this was my husband's mother. But she says, no, it's still connected to her, and it seems like a very powerful, opinionated, and blunt woman. And that is definitely the Queen of Swords. And the last 2 cards pulled, I don't know whether you can see that too well. Let me just turn the light on and see what we can do. So these were the last 2 cards pulled that, even though we faced difficulty and we worked through it, the 10 of Coins tells me that it was a valuable experience, and in the long run, with the 9 of Coins, that is very much what we are doing. We're playing in the garden and taking pride in our home and the security that it is offering. So I'm going to put this back into the cradle and we'll get busy. And by the way, these boards that you can get that are magnetic are great for propping cards up and being able to look at the cards as you walk by during the day. So let's tilt this back down to the charm board and continue. Okay, so this is the little plastic holder I use for the ball. The ball has all been cleansed and blessed, and this was blessed as well. So now, a bit of a problem there with that whiskey, but no worries. Let's pause. Note to self, don't put liquid near the charm board. So that has gone off to the side, and now I did bring in the energy prior. I have placed all of the photographs around the table of the ancestors, and now it's time to begin. So I'm just letting all the energy go into the charms, asking for the most uplifting information, positive thoughts from the ancestors on how to move forward and what I can work on with them, with their support. So I've got a little handle, and I'm going to drop this and see. We got quite a few charms there, so this is going to mean moving in a bit. And let's see which one stands out the best. Well, for me, my eye went right to this little K here. And for me, that's like an okay symbol. Things are good. And we wish you luck. Oh, I like that. Yes, let's start with a little bit of luck. Beautiful. Okay, and then I get on top of that this little charm with the pearl. The pearl to me is always insights, and with the rays coming off like they are in this charm, it's good for me to see in that the radiation of energy, thoughts, good thoughts, and wisdom might just be coming my way. So that is with the luck there. Now there is something else connected to the tree, and that is this. And so I have to flip this over and see. You can read it there, make a difference. And with the star, to me, that is definitely reaching out. But when it's upside down, there is some miscommunication in my mind, or the clinging to thoughts. Because when I think of the starfish, they do cling to rocks. And I get the feeling that if it's going to make a difference, I need to let go of some of these emotions that I'm holding on to, which is exactly what someone did in a reading for me yesterday in Facebook. Holding on to emotions and clinging is not going to help me move forward. So make a difference and let some of those things go. Now over here on this section, it says, wait a year. There's no reason to be rushing. And it's the hummingbird. And for a lot of people, the hummingbird is very special spiritually. It could be suggesting that it's going to take me a while to open this system, this unique sort of gathering of the ancestors for messages, but to watch and listen, because the bird to me is also a messenger. So waiting a year, not rushing in, could be information that is coming to me that is rather important. So we can still connect now, but there's something very important yet to be heard. Probably connected to, because of the beak, my brother. That's quite interesting. We have a shell here on let your creativity soar. And when I think of the shell, you know, they have that part that you can open and put next to your ear. So it's listen. When you're being creative, listen. And again, because it's connected to water, there is that sense of emotional fulfillment in listening to my creativity. Very nice. Okay, over here, and this one is on Take Back Your Power. And the charm is not reversed, but it was pointing away from me. And this says Merry Xmas, and Christmas is just around the corner. So there needs to be some attention paid to taking back my power. And it also points to rest and retreat. And that is exactly what I have been doing, stepping back from the channel here and there to work on my creativity and listening to the information through cards, through intuition, and stepping back. That is true. Stepping back, that sounds very dated, doesn't it? So I think someone is coming through and talking to me. Over here there is, if I can adjust this, there we go. Yeah, there's a little roller skate, and I used to love to roller skate. And the message right there is love to see you having fun. It's not saying have more fun. We love to see you having fun. So to find ways to bring, like when you're a kid, when you used to roller skate, bring the fun back into your day-to-day or your weekly. Plan and have some fun. Okay, over here we have the Eiffel Tower. And to me, that is usually travel and something distant. And that sits over here on a child's love. And my child is definitely grown up, but she is very much at a distance. She is in a foreign spot to me and a long ways away. And it suggests here that it's time to put down roots. So that might mean, connecting more to my daughter and establishing that rooted feeling, because we are a little bit disjointed. Nothing here. There is an H over here at the bottom of the tree. That's interesting. The only H I can come up with is my dad's middle name being Hewson. But it is right at the bottom of the tree. If anyone has any suggestions on that, let me know. And over here, tip this down again, we have a set of golf clubs. And it's touching on foul play and tests. Oh, and it's right over top of my mother. Yeah, I've been, apologizing to her that I couldn't be there for her passing. And when I think of golf clubs, I do think of strategy. When you have to get that little ball in the hole and make par, you're trying to be perfect. But there's been foul play and tests, and it was very testing when Mother passed because we were in the middle of our move and I could not get home. So that is interesting. And I think that is about all for that. Now, what I'm going to do is take some time and sit with this information because I do think it's important to, as they say, listen. And I will be bringing down my pendulum and working further with this later on today, letting all this sort of digest and coming back with the pendulum and seeing if I can get, as I say in the other video I showed you that I put the ancestors' photos in groupings. So my parents are that diagonal. My mother and her sisters are over here. So I'm really going to be trying to work the pendulum over the board and seeing if I can get any more information from the ancestors. It seems to be scattered quite a bit here and not much here. And this side of the table is more my husband's ancestors. So I think it's more my ancestors up here that are talking the most. So I just wanted to show you how I am expanding the practice a little bit and including the ancestors. And I just hope that you enjoyed this. It has been and will be for a couple days, quite an experience for me in communicating and listening to my dreams and just sitting here peacefully and listening. So I'm going to sign off and say, hope everyone has a great day. And if you're working spiritually, I hope that you have success and gain answers that will help you move forward for the rest of the season. Blessings and happy Halloween.